strategic investment for growth and underutilized assets play a part in opportunities for investment. Here to present on this subject is the Chief Executive Officer of Global Trinidad and Tobago. Please welcome Mr. Sekou Alain.
So happy to see so many of my public and private sector colleagues here with us today, both in the room and those joining us live on TTT or online. Today, I am honored to present on investment, one of the 5 key business areas, 2 of the 10 strategic objectives of the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism, and a critical pillar in Trinidad and Tobago's economic transformation agenda. Over the past year, our approach to investment development has shifted from fragmentation to integration, accountability, and results-oriented engagement. The mandate is clear. Investment must become a major non-energy revenue generator for Trinidad and Tobago, driving diversification, employment, foreign exchange earnings, and long-term national resilience. At the center of our work is a very deliberate strategic objective: to attract sustained and significant investment for the growth and diversification of the economy, while optimizing the utilization of distressed and underutilized assets. What is different today is not simply the activity taking place. It is the alignment, the coordination, and accountability behind that activity. The ministry's structure, its agencies, and resources are being strategically integrated around common investment goals, and you'll hear about those later, and measurable outcomes. Investment promotion and facilitation are no longer being approached in silos. There are now weekly performance reporting sessions, executive reviews, cross-ministry coordination, direct engagement with the private sector, many of whom are here today, stronger policy alignment across government, and development of strategic investment opportunity packages. This integrated approach is driving investor confidence and significantly improving the country's ability to move investment opportunities from conversation to execution. To understand where we want to go, we have established ambitious but necessary targets. Our national investment targets are US $3 billion to be delivered in 2 years, starting last year, so by 2027. We also aim to drive $9 billion of investments within 5 years, and so by 2030. I'll let that sink in just a little, and we'll move on. Over the past year, several immediate measures were implemented to strengthen investment attraction and facilitation. The strategic planning and weekly performance reviews that you've heard about prior and, as I said earlier, are happening and are optimized to improve collaboration, accountability, and execution. And relationships rarely become a core priority now. We've adopted an integrated national approach being led by the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism and the Minister, Global Trinidad and Tobago, which is Trinidad and Tobago's Trade and Investment Promotion Agency, the Special Economic Zone Authority of Trinidad and Tobago, Tourism Trinidad Limited, and very importantly, the Tobago House of Assembly. We have also strengthened proactive investor targeting through the prioritization and packaging of investment opportunities across the non-energy sectors, some of which you'll hear just a little later in the presentation. Also importantly, the identification of the channels where investors must be engaged, and most importantly, the engagement of the investor stakeholder networks inclusive of the local diplomatic missions, many of whom we are here today and we've met with recently and will continue to meet with, the major accounting and legal firms that are currently facilitating investor, particularly foreign direct investor, entry into Trinidad, but significantly supporting domestic investors as well, local and international private sector stakeholders, strategic ministries and agencies. And so that proactive approach to investor engagement then leads to a proactive investor facilitation strategy, ensuring that there is significant investor lifecycle management with the use of dedicated account managers, partnership with key regulatory and investor support stakeholders, and at the same time, focused attention being placed on packaging of the underutilized assets that you will hear about a little later. Our targeting strategy was also sharpened. And so some of the traditional sectors you will see us targeting and facilitating investors in are manufacturing, agro-processing, logistics and distribution, as well as the creative industries with a particular focus on film, fashion, and music, while strategic growth sectors include iron and steel, digital service and business process outsourcing, maritime and marine services, aviation and air-related services, tourism development, of course, and we must also mention energy services, tertiary health and education, financial services, land development, which makes land utilization available for investors, and sports, entertainment, and culture. What makes the approach different is the deliberate coordination across institutions and sectors with clear execution mechanisms attached. While immediate wins are important, sustainable investment growth requires structural reform. This includes legislative modernization and improving the investment environment. Key areas currently being addressed include the Tourism Development Act, the Foreign Investment Act, the Special Economic Zones Act, as well as streamlining of the Environmental Management Authority related processes to investments. So we are identifying the relevant segments of those acts to ensure that they are aligned with foreign and domestic investment requirements, and so that we can more quickly move investors to a committed status. We are also improving accessibility, transparency, and relevance of incentives available to investors. Importantly, work is ongoing to strengthen investor guidance throughout the entire investor lifecycle, from inquiry to operationalization. This is about reducing friction, improving certainty, and making Trinidad and Tobago more competitive internationally. Because in today's global environment, investment attraction is no longer only about incentives, it is about speed, responsiveness, and confidence in execution. One of the most transformative initiatives currently underway is the national strategy around underutilized assets. Across Trinidad and Tobago, there are significant state and legacy assets that currently represent unrealized economic potential. Rather than allowing these assets to remain dormant liabilities, the ministry is actively repositioning them as investment opportunities capable of generating jobs, economic activity, and private sector participation. This initiative represents a major shift in thinking. We are moving from passive asset ownership to active economic utilization. The scale of the challenge is substantive. Billions of dollars of underutilized assets exist across Trinidad and Tobago, including land, buildings, machinery, industrial facilities, tourism assets, and strategic infrastructure. Today, we are positioning these as catalysts for investment and growth. Over 100 assets have been identified. 15 of those assets have already been shortlisted and prioritized for investment focus. And importantly, Engagement has commenced with the Office of the Procurement Regulator to ensure compliance and transparency. Importantly, again, this initiative reflects genuine collaboration across government and the private sector. Key partners include the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Planning, Economic Affairs and Development, the Ministry of Public Administration and Artificial Intelligence, and of course, as mentioned, the Office of the Procurement Regulator. This level of coordinated engagement is critical if we are to move from policy ambition to implementation. So what are the next steps? Looking ahead, the next phase is execution. Key next steps upon Cabinet approval is the packaging of those underutilized assets for investment, and of course, the engagement to private sector to attract proposals through the issuance of invitations. The future direction is clear. We are building a more structured, investment-ready, and opportunity-driven environment for both local and international investors. To what end? To date, we have achieved meaningful momentum. Our current investment pipeline stands at $1.44 billion. The investment pipeline are current investors that are actively being engaged. We understand their requirements. We are connecting them to the public and private sector stakeholders that will meet those requirements and actively working to move them towards an investment commitment. That $1.4 billion of pipeline investment represents 45 projects and the potential for the development of over 5,600 jobs in Trinidad and Tobago. Very importantly, 61% of these opportunities are foreign direct investment, while 39% are local direct investment, which really demonstrates the importance of supporting domestic investment to the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism's plans. We have also moved 8 projects into committed status, primarily in the manufacturing and the hotel development sectors, so some of the more traditional sectors, while we work through the pipeline of moving persons in the new and strategic sectors into committed status. We have clear ownership on these projects, and these projects, as you can see, are valued significantly with the potential to create nearly 1,000 jobs. And as you will see, we are holding ourselves to the investment target through the investment pipeline status thermometer, as you see on your screens. The $3 billion target being, in 2 years, being the entire thermometer. What you see in the green, it is what is committed thus far, and the $1.44 billion in the pipeline that we are actively working with is engaged towards bolstering that pipeline, so the active facilitation of investors to convert that pipeline into investment commitment, and the active targeting of new investors, both foreign and local, in order to build and increase that pipeline. So as we move investors from the pipeline into committed status and then work to get them operational, we must continue through the work of the coordinated Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism to bolster that pipeline as we move along and keep ourselves beholden to that $3 billion target in 2 years, and then beyond the $9 billion target in 5 years. Sorry, Minister, I'm not trying to revise the targets in real time. What these numbers represent are increased business confidence, investor engagement, job opportunities for citizens, delivery of significant foreign exchange, and the future economic activity that will strengthen national development. What are the key takeaways today? There are 4. Firstly, Trinidad and Tobago's investment environment is actively being addressed through policy reform, institutional coordination, and targeted initiatives. Secondly, significant progress is being made in pipeline development and moving that pipeline to investment commitments. Thirdly, the integrated intraministerial approach is beginning to bear fruit through stronger coordination and accountability. And finally, collaboration between government, its agencies, and the private sector remains essential to achieving sustainable economic transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, the work has started, the systems are improving, the pipeline is growing, the opportunities ahead are significant. The very name of this ministry signals a policy shift to the global market. Investors are welcome, and Trinidad and Tobago is open for business. Diversification is being actioned. Thank you.